Welcome back to Odd Switch episode 3. Today's odd switch is a little different. Usually I would compare two switches that are oddly similar but with two different price points. Usually a big difference in price point. But today, after I gotten a lot of feedback from you guys want to see some budget comparisons as well. So today we'll be taking a look at two switches that are oddly similar but at very low price points. Before we carry on with the video, this video is sponsored by PCBWay. PCBWay provides services for the creation of PCBs and fabrication. They provide all kinds of services. You can make all kinds of PCBs. All you need is one file and everything will be set for you. Same thing goes for fabrication. One CAD file and you're basically good to go. With this, you can create your very own custom keyboard from scratch. Everything will come assembled for you. All you have to do is the keyboard building part. They're currently having a 10% off on their CNC fabrication and 3D printing. And they are also having a promotion to get your PCBs with a higher TG at the same price. So if you are interested, go and check out the link in the description down below for more information. Back to the video. Okay, so for today we'll be taking a look at Gateron Reds versus the Akko Rose Reds. Beginning with prices, let's start with the Gateron Reds. One of the most common switches out there, they are being priced at 10 switches for $2. So if you are getting 70 switches, that will be $14 in total, and for a single switch you're paying 20 cents. And I believe that is about the lowest you can go for a switch. As for our Akko Rose Reds, they are being priced at $9.99 for 45 pieces. So for 90 pieces, that would be $19.98. And that will bring our single switch for Akko Rose Red to 22 cents. That is really close to the 20 cents. With a 2 cents difference, let's see what's different about them. Let's first take a look at the Gateron Reds. I believe that this is the most commonly used Gateron switch, or just a switch in general, because of its low price and its usage in pre-built keyboards. Gateron has been manufacturing switches since 2000 and I wasn't even born yet. That's insane. They are absolute monster in the switch industry with countless releases. Gateron switches, Gateron inks, Gateron milkies, Gateron caps, Gateron pros. You get the idea. They have released countless of switches that the community has really liked. If you didn't know, Gateron Reds are actually considered a replica or a clone because of its similarity to the Cherry MX switches. But yeah, the Gateron Red, it is a 3-pin linear switch with an operating force of 45 grams, bottoming out at 55 grams. Gateron doesn't really release specific materials on their website, so I can't really tell, but it's plastic, so. Aside from that, with a pre-travel of 2mm and a total travel of 4mm, it is one of the most basic switches you have out there. Moving on to our Akko Rose Reds. Part of the first lineup of the CS switches released by Akko, including the Ocean Blues and the Matcha Greens. As of now, there are many more switches aside from these 3 switches because of how popular it got after being first released. It was given really good feedback from the keyboard community, and I'm guessing that gave a good impression to Akko to make more. So the Akko Rose Reds are a 3-pin linear switch with an operating force of 43 grams and bottoming out at 48. A pre-travel of 1.9 and a total travel of 3.5. They also emphasize a lot on their Akko CS springs. With a progressive coil spring and a more stringent quality control, it provides a more unique and distinct typing experience. So let's go ahead and dive right in and take a look at some external feature comparisons. First up, the colors are extremely different, as you can tell. The Akko CS series always had a fully colored top housing and bottom housing, compared to the usual look on the Gateron switches, which look plain, just a normal switch. As for the colors, as you can tell, Rose Reds, so the Rose Reds are a little more pink compared to the white on the Gateron Reds. We're gonna move on to opening it up. Both of these switches are fairly decent when opening them up, but I would say that Akko Rose Reds are easier to open up compared to the Gateron Reds. Now let's compare the individual components. They both use an MX structure, so there isn't that much of a difference. Starting off with a stem comparison, the stems are actually really similar aside from the fact that the Akko Rose Reds have a longer pole. That actually plays a part in making the switch better, and I'll explain that later on when we're on the housing. Next up is spring. As I mentioned earlier, the Akko CS springs are actually way different compared to the Gateron ones. With the progressive coil, it actually looks way more dense compared to the Gateron spring. And I didn't really film this, but this makes the spring a little more denser and thicker and feels more durable compared to the Gateron one, which feels a little more flimsy. And finally, the housings. Akko housings with a longer pole and this slight adjustment of a thinner material used on the top housing actually helps negate your north-facing interference. Yes, so there is no north interference when you are using Akko CS switches. But for Gateron switches, you might run into some north-facing interference considering they use a thicker material compared to Akko. Correct me if I'm wrong about this, but that is what I think it works or how it works. I'm guessing that a thicker top housing actually causes interference with cherry profile keycaps. So yeah, comment something down below. Aside from that key point, Akko CS switches actually use a Kale housing compared to Gateron, which uses Gateron housing, of course. So yeah. Now that we have covered most of the main points, let's do a a quick sound comparison of a single switch looped and unlooped with Krytox Stow 5 Grade 0. Before we move on to the typing test, we're gonna do a quick run through of the stem wobble as well. I was a little surprised on this, but the Gateron Reds actually have lesser wobble compared to the Akko CS series, but I'm guessing that's because of a thicker material used on the housing, so that probably gives it lesser space for the stem to wobble. And because Akko used a thinner material, it caused more wobble, but I rather deal with stem wobble than north-facing interference, honestly, so yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna do a typing test comparison of the switches looped. I will be using a KBD67 Lite. Overall, I will actually choose the Rose Reds for the extra 2 cents per switch. You get a few things in return for paying the extra 2 cents. Starting off, you negate the north-facing issue. Secondly, the typing experience on an Akko Rose Red actually feels way much nicer, and the returns of the switch actually feels way quicker compared to a Gateron Red. And of course, this doesn't really matter, but Akko Rose Reds of course look better as well compared to Gateron Reds. The Gateron Reds are good. It is one of the essentials for any keyboard person out there in this keyboard hobby. You probably started off with a Gateron Red. And if you are getting a pre-built keyboard, do not get browns or blues, get Gateron Reds. Trust me. Trust me. Something I can understand is that most people don't really want to stray away from Gateron switches because Gateron is like a really well known and it's basically a keystone in our keyboard community, but just try straying away, going off to other kinds of switches. Maybe you can try Akko switches for once. It's really cheap as well, so you can just try it out. I feel like the moment you try out different switches aside from your good old Gateron switches, you will reach a new experience in this keyboard hobby, and I think that really helps keep you in the hobby and keeps you interested in keyboards, so you can watch my videos more. So for today's winner of this episode is the Akko Rose Reds. And aside from that, we have come to the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go ahead and click like, click subscribe, comment something down below, new switches you want me to do, any kind of switches. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.